Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, February, we get a new prompt and the flower for the month of February is from my selection. So here we go. Are you ready? Drum roll. Cherry blossom. Okay, so now we know what we have to do. We are doing a cherry blossom. So I've grabbed my pack of goodies that I've been using for the pansies, my paints, my pen. I've got a sketch here of the pansies, which I've sort of kept. I don't know. I'm thinking that might be stitched one day. Love the way those leaves have draped. So there's my sketches. For those of you who are new and wondering what the hell is the girl doing, she is using sketch, paint, stitch, embellish. Here is my gouache paints, and I did a little sampler so I know where to go for colour. Cherry blossoms. Could go really light, could go into dark, dark into semi-dark. Who knows? We're not at that stage yet. Stay focused. I've got my pens, permanent ink pens, and I did a little sampler so I know what size each of the nibs do. So when I want to sketch, I've got some watercolour paints, just a little palette. This just creates that washed background to sort of get a bit of colour bleeding out around my piece. So I'll put that back into there. I did this all in the first video where I made some little colour palettes for myself just to help me understand what I've actually got. And here's my Inktense pencils and another colour palette. I wouldn't say there's a cherry colour there, so I might have to play with making a wash. We'll see. We'll get to that. Who knows? Now, this is the book we've been using, plus, oh, I've got Susanna's bird kit in the bottom there. Wondering where I put that. This is the book we've been referring to for all of our prompts. And then there was a flower we selected that we felt was very similar to the pansy, and it was the little viola. And then we twigged, well, they're actually in the same family. I really liked violas. I like the native viola in Australia, little purple flowers, beautiful. They just grow wild through my garden. I planted one plant so long ago and they're everywhere. When there's a drought, they die off. When there's rain, they appear. I just love them, and I think they'll come with me to Burrum. There's a few plants that I just keep taking from house to house, and violas are one of them, the Australian native viola. So February was going to be viola, but it's too similar to pansy. So we had another rethink, and I came up with 3 or 4 new flowers that were out of here. But cherry blossom popped into my mind. Now, if I remember rightly, yeah, there is no cherry blossom picture in this book. There is no cherry blossom picture in this book. It's the only flower that's not in this book. But we felt like we'll go with it because there's so many cherry blossom images out there on the internet. So I'm going to put the books away. I won't need the paints at this stage. I just need to get some fabric that I can practice sketching on. So we'll put my piece away. I'm not even sure where it's going to go on the piece yet. Put the Inktense pencils away. All I need, and there's my phone, a bing. No, it's nothing important. We mustn't forget that we've got our little cherry blossom logo. I did do it in a different format as well. The words, I just wasn't sure which would best suit. So I'm just going to repin them on there. Where's a pin? There's a pin. And let's get started. So for my imagery, I just went to my phone and I typed in cherry blossom sketches, and heaps came up. Heaps and heaps and heaps. So I started sort of looking at, well, what makes a cherry blossom? They've got a rounded little flower petal. They've got these little buds. This one, to me, isn't really realistic. It's a little bit, that one there to me. Their branches are they've got this jaggedness about them. And their little leaves, or their petals, have got sort of an unusual little shape about them as well. If you wanted to keep it simple, you could do a petal that is very rounded, more like a stylized cherry blossom. How many petals do they have? Is it 4 or 5? I think they do have 5. Okay, like that's classic cherry blossom. Then you've got little stamens inside, and then away you go from there. So you can sort of get a bit of a darker throat and stitch and paint. So they are a very simple little flower. So let's get rid of that one. I want to get a little bit more detail. So like I did with the pansies, I just want to sketch, just sort of zoom it in and just sort of get a feel for the shape. And once I sort of get that to my memory, I can then, you know, go from there. So they sort of clump too. That's the other thing. I had cherry blossoms as my flower to decorate the hall when I was married. I had a wedding in a country town. There was 100-odd people there because that's what happens in country towns. Once you start inviting, you have a list pretty quick. So we had to come up with really good economical ways of decorating. The food was not an issue because we were farmers. Dad grew every vegetable and we had plenty of meat access. And there was spit roasts, and it was a real country wedding shindig. Fantastic. But the hall decorating was up to me, and I was on a strict budget. And at May, no, it wasn't May. I tell a lie. September it was. Gosh, I nearly forgot my wedding anniversary date. September, cherry blossoms were in flower in Queensland. And cherry trees, the trees just grow natively in all of the creeks everywhere. So there's like a little wash of pink as you look down a creek bank. And so they were very easy to come across. So we got big barrels, 44-gallon drums, and decorated them up with a bow that matched my bridesmaids, which was a magenta colour, and filled the drums with cherry blossom. So the day before the wedding, we went out with the trailer and we cut heaps of them and then just stuffed them all into these 44-gallon drums. And in a massive hall, it just looked beautiful. So I've been a bit of a fan of the old cherry blossom, so it just had to be part of my my Botanical Beauties. So I do apologise if it's not in the books, and you have gone and got the books. I think you'll forgive me. I just need to do a cherry blossom. Anyway, stop talking. So I might start with this cluster. They are sort of, I'm just gonna find me a picture of a real cherry blossom. I just noticed something on that sketch, and I don't want to do it if it's not actually true to the flower. So let's change it to cherry blossom flowers. Let's just have a look. Gosh, I'd love to get to Japan. Oh, look at these. Oh. So what I noticed so there's obviously varieties, right? In that sketch, the petals are joined, but they're not. In real life, they're actually layers, and they are singular, and they actually have, look at that, a little bit of air between them. Interesting. Let's get some more close-ups. Okay. Look how look how pronounced the little stamens are. So we can quite exaggerate those. The petals, when it's fully open, actually there's a little bit of air. There's nearly a teardrop shape to them. They're definitely, look at the size of the stamens on that. Wow. Okay, so I'm seeing lots of French knots. Now, the other thing is, what does the leaf look like? So it's a real brown. Okay, like a magnolia leaf that is at the end of its days. Okay. Cherry blossom leaves are autumn tones. There's not a lot of leaves, very much as I remember it. These stick-like, look at that, so dense with petals, yet some are with, all right. So there's obviously a few varieties out there, and this one's got a really thick petal layering, and then others are quite singular. Oh, I've got to go to Japan and see the Cherry Blossom Festival. Let's have a look back at that sketch, because the sketch is going to help with a bit of construction of the actual branch. I really like the shape of that branch. All right, let's go. We've got a bit of a teardroppy shape. We zoomed in enough. Look at the light. It's a bit of a brown light because I'm in the afternoon. Hopefully you can see. So we're just getting a bit of a feel for the shape of the petal. They appear that they're connected, but they're not. The more they open, the more little pockets of air we can see. They're a little bit layered. Okay. And then we've got this dark throat, and then out comes all of these tiny little wispy fibers with little pollen or nectar on the top. And I'm guessing the bees come and do their thing. It attaches to them, and then off they go, and you've now got a cherry tree blooming somewhere. Now, we'll do another one here, but we might get a bit of a curvy petal coming out of the center of it, so it's like being pushed. That's probably a little bit too exaggerated. That's probably better. And then away we go again. So he's got more of a tilt to him, so all of his little sprays will go forward like that. So we're starting to get the one that's looking at you, then the one that's slightly, you know, off. I don't know if my hands looked very good there. So I'm trying to explain my thoughts. All right, so then we'll tuck another one in behind. You guys can't see my sketch. See my sketch there? I'm focusing on that. So we need that, the other one tucked in behind. So let's get him, find our center. That petal is hidden. This petal just pops out. And then there's that petal. Oh, I like that curled little edge there. We're going to have a bit of air between this guy. He's an older flower. Like that, like. Got a bit lost there, didn't I? Curl his edge in there a little bit too. So this guy is coming out from behind. So there's our cluster. Then we've got this sticky sort of, I don't know, they're very rigid looking, I think's the word I'm trying to say. Dark brown, and then it sort of gets a little bit twiggy. Can't see the picture. Corrine, move the camera. Okay, I think we're off on a journey now. Let's do just a little guy here, because we're getting a little bit smaller. We're getting quite a rigid little line about the petal too. I think it's because I just drew the stick that way. Oh, goodness me. Petal tucked in behind. There's our throat. We'll have him looking down a little bit. We've got some buds. Now the buds seem to have that nearly the same as the pansy. So I've got a bit of a bud thing happening here. There's a little bit more stick that's coming out the back there. So we might have a stick, branch. Gosh, terminology is not good here. I can't draw and speak at the same time, guys. So just excuse, I can't even say the right words. Excuse the lack of proper flower-like English. Had to get that 5th flower in there. You could just keep going with your cherry blossom. Got some half open buds, like we're getting a flower that's starting to look like it's going to open. Then you've got your buds. So it's sort of getting a little bit wispier up through here as the plant. Another little bud there. That shape looks a bit odd, but anyway, we're going with it. Okay, so we'll bring another little bud out, a bit of stick out there. Bit of stick there. And then we'll continue the branch. So we sort of want it to look like it's part of this bigger tree. Yeah, there we go. Let me just come up a little bit. So if I've picked up anything from that, is it meanders. It's like a branch. We've got to have directional flowers so that you get that feeling that it's a clump. Then there's these random ones out here that just have popped up in the middle of nowhere. Then there's even like, you can do little, I just spotted that there. So just running parallel on a tiny little sprig is another little bud. It's quite an interesting little plant, isn't it? Can you see my phone there? I love how there's these turned over edges too. We've got to have a few of those in it. They're fun because we could weave that. And then even behind here, that could be the back of a flower. So out from the back of a flower is another flower poking out. So it's yeah, don't like that. That doesn't look right. Let's just not get ahead of ourselves there. We haven't got the leaves happening. The leaves seem very sparse. Do we need the leaves? Can we just focus on, look at that little guy. He's a great little, let's see if we can, so he's got this wispy edge. And then he comes down as a petal. Then we'll do the other wispy edge. Oh, I like this guy. And then the petal starts on its own accord at the back here. And then we've got our little cuties. We'll have to really work on those. They need to be fine. I think that's going to really sell the whole idea, that they're like whisper threads with these little, I'm thinking colonial knots on the end. So that's an interesting little flower. It's like a half one. And then you can have your stick or the branch with some little bud-like bits coming off as again. Oh goodness, this could just be, oh, I knew I'd enjoy the cherry blossom. There you are. One cherry blossom. Okay. I don't know if it'll work on the fabric, because I always find the first sketch, like this one here, I just love it. I wish it was on my page. And I think it's the layers of those leaves where I really like that. Will I get that daintiness? All right, we've had a practice. Bring down the tablecloth. So where are we going to put it? Got a couple schools of thought. We can pick another random spot. Now remember, there's 12. And this little circular cloth, let me zoom up a little bit. If I put my finger here in the center, like if that's a pie shape, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So that's 3 flowers that'll find a home within the tablecloth. I'm thinking I'm going to do it here. I feel like I could bring it up here. Okay. If we don't like it, we just iron it out. Oh, nervous. Let's get our image. What's happened? Image is gone. All right. There's the bottom there. So I'm thinking we head in that direction. Maybe I'll just draw myself a bit of a line to get a fluid movement happening. So it's really just heading in that direction and following that shape. Okay. Then we'll come off. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just got to concentrate for a second. Oh my goodness, the pressure. We're having a downward branch here. We're going to then have some little droopy buds. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit, hey guys? I've got to keep looking up at the camera so I don't leave you guys behind. Okay, this is the pressure of it. So we want this stick to feel like a stick. The branch, stop calling it a stick. When I say stick, you know what I mean? It's the branch. Gee, if there's some botanists watching, they'll be horrified. Let me get my phone closer. I think I want to make that a bigger petal. So that's a downward hanging cherry blossom. Where that came from, I do not know, being that I've just sketched everything up. But now we have a downward one. But that's okay. We're then going to have a bit of a bud, a little line off for another bud. And then another bud here. Okay, so we've got the start of something. Then we can probably fork branch up there as we then head along as well. So let's get our cluster of cherry blossoms going. So let's do our first big big guy looking at us. Same principle as before. Think about the center of the flower. And just get a nice big smiling at you directly flower. Okay, and that's our center point. So that's a good start. Then we've got the one that's looking down. So it had the back part of the leaf or the petal. And then it started coming into the actual flower. Then another petal. I don't know what's happening there. I've got lost my way there. Lost my way completely. I knew every time I sketch first, I always get a better result. I don't know if nerves kicks in and I start to just go off on my own what I think is there, but I'm not actually drawing what is there. There we go. Just feel like that's got a bit of a curl about it, and then all the bristles come out from there. Okay. It's probably not as tucked in as I wanted. So I'll make that a little bit sharper. Okay. Then there was one that was out the back here. So we've got, first of all, a petal coming out there. This guy was wide open so that we actually had a little bit of air from behind. Yep. And there's his center. Okay. Then we had this branch coming out here with some buds. They seem to have nearly a tulip-like, the way those two branches, those two petals sort of cup in around it. Do we do a little branch out here just to add a little detail? Don't know what I'm doing. Lost my way there a little bit. Don't you love the iron that we can just let go? That's soft, I like that. This petal disappeared. Okay, so let's have a flower up here as we, a little bit smaller. We're getting to sort of to the end of it, aren't we? 4, we need 5. Goodness sakes. Stop making the petals so big, girl. It's losing my shape of a cherry blossom there a little bit too. Okay, and then we might push a bud in tight there and then bring one out up here as well. A bit of a stick like, and that's out on a limb, which then connects into this. And then away it goes again. So I feel like we could do something down here. Maybe a smaller one. Now it's just about layering it in, I think. Different versions of the same shapes. Could do with a branch coming down to him. A little bit there. Let's catch a bud out from the back of him there. But then continue the branch on for another bud up here and a little branch there just to soften it. Little whimsical bits just to break it up a little bit. Now we're getting to the tapering side of things. So let's get ourselves another flower. So it's so easy just to sketch flowers and then you've got to go and stitch them all. I mean, as in, so not so much the sketching of the flower, the action, you know, just, oh, we'll put another flower here, another flower there. And we've now got so many flowers, we've also got to stitch them. But that's all good. We'll be fine. Let's have a little bud here, but let's make him a little bit bigger. I feel like we could be a bit braver with our buds. And then let's end that with a beautiful bud as well. Little guy there. The buds are going to be great, I think. I feel like we need something in there. Maybe we do a bud that's sort of at a different angle. Okay. Now we're getting right down to this tapered. Do we do another flower? I think so. Let's do another flower. Let's have him sort of a weird angle, I think, looking down over here. Let's try and get that looking away from you feel. I don't know what I'm doing there. Got lost back there somewhere. That's better. And then this one has the top of it bent over and that little bud's hanging out there. I think what'll help with that is the direction of those little fibrous bits. Now we've got little opportunities for more little bits as we taper down to a point. Let's bring I feel like we need another branch coming up here because it joins in behind that flower. It softens it a little bit. That's pretty good, I think. Have we filled our space? I think so. Do we? No, don't go over there. That's another flower another day. For goodness sakes, girl. Yeah, I like it. I guess we can always add more in if we feel like it's got a little bit of room for something extra. And I think what's going to really make it is all these little bits. Are we putting some brown leaves in? I don't know. I feel like I could do with another the flower that we drew, that one there, where could we have him? I feel like he needs to go up. I don't mind that there's a bit of space there. I don't want it to look like a solid cherry blossom. I feel like, let's get this guy up into here. So how did we draw him? We did this guy. We did this curved. I think this guy will actually be fun to stitch. He's probably a little bit more interesting than the others to me. Does it look like we've got a bit of movement happening there? And of course all the little stamens come out. I think that's probably a bit big. So let's knock that back a little bit. Then we could attach him into here. Oh, look, that was a well thought out plan. Not. We can do a little bud there, a little bud there. And then let's taper this off in this direction with a little guy up there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's step back from it. I think that's pretty good. I think we'll enjoy stitching that. Yeah, I think so. Now I might just go in and just make sure we've got all our lines where we want them. There we go. Make sure everything's where it should be. Because once you start slushing the paint around, I tend to focus on the painting and then I can lose the shape of where I want to be with my paintbrush. I want to just relax into that and just, you know, paint and not have to worry about where I am at any one time. So if that's you and you just want to pick up the brush and enjoy it, like this feels a bit loose. I feel like I could give myself a little bit more information there. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe another branch coming off there. Doesn't have to have a bud on it, but just a little something. There we go. Does that feel like a cherry blossom? I think so. I feel like he could have something else. Maybe I've got to thicken up with 3 buds here just to maybe something here of a decent structure. Yeah, that's a bit better. It's like these guys are just starting to break out. Yep. Yep, that's good. Okay, I think we're there. Do we do leaves? I don't think so. I feel like I need just a swish of this pink. I want it to look a bit different to the pansies. So I'm thinking along the lines of that. Now, where's my words? Let's have a look. Yeah, there you go. There's the negative space. We're going to have that there. I might stitch that because then it's got its home. All right, well, I think I'm going to curve it a little, bring it down. I think we've got our sketch, guys. Just put a couple stitches in that little guy. And then I don't have to worry about it being lost somewhere. So let's just flip straight to stitching and name our flower. Very good. Let's see too, I want to, oh goodness, come on. I want to have a look at that, a first sketch. Did I end up doing a better? Oh, see, I do like that. It's different again, isn't it? Oh, gosh, I tell you. But no, I'm happy. That looks like cherry blossoms to me, especially once we start working those stamens. Yeah, lovely. What I'll do next is I'll go and find some painted cherry blossoms online and have a really good look at the way they've layered. So you type in watercolour cherry blossoms and have a really good look at the way they're layering their paint. I'm not going to paint today. I'm just going to stitch this on first. Yeah, is there yellow in the throat of these flowers, or is it a pale pink? Is there a change of colour as you head out of the petal? Do we need that? You know, a shading? That's all the questions I need to answer for myself next. And then what is the right medium to use? Do I go the gouache, the pencil, or the watercolour? All very valid things to investigate further. So I'm just doing little invisible stitches around this little guy. So I look forward to seeing all your cherry blossoms. So if you haven't already and you are on Facebook and you haven't found our group, Stitched Vintage Treasures, it's a combination of my channel name as well as Susanna's channel name, which is Vintage Blend Studio. So we decided to do a joint page because it was just too hard to, you know, manage it by one person. Just hang on one second, guys. Oh, goodness me. Phone is buzzing. I just want to make sure it's not anything important. But no, it's all good. Yeah, so we combined our names to make this Facebook group. In the description below is a link across 2 simple questions. What is your favourite stitch and where are you from, as in the country? And then we get a little notification to say that you're waiting there to be approved. We go in and give you the tick of approval, which is, you know, it just happens. You don't need to be concerned about passing any other tests from that point. And it's a really easy way for you to show us your work, because we've been so many people saying, you know, how do I show you what I'm doing? What's your email? What's this? What's that? And we're both experiencing it. And then when we started chatting to Tia about it and how we were thinking of doing it, she was like, well, I'll give you a hand with it too. So she's kindly donated herself and her time to joining us. There we go. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. So here we go. We've got 15 minutes left. Let me just type into my phone, watercolour, cherry blossom, watercolour. And let's see what the experts do. Oh, okay. I better put the word free there, because straight away, free cherry blossom. Straight away, some pictures came up that are available for sale on Etsy. And I could see they were like big wall paintings, the thumbnail. So we don't want to be getting inspiration from things that are for sale. So let's just go to free watercolor painting. Okay, great. All right, let's click on that one. So they've really flooded it with, gee, I love the stick, the branch. That's going to be fun to do. Look at the shading on that as we come out. So we can certainly play with our branch, and then, because you imagine the stitching from that point. So the center of these is quite dark. Look at that. Okay. What other ones we've got? Once again, different shades. Ah, look, there's actually a little bud. So there's an opportunity to make these two petals actually a different colour, and then the little cherry blossom is peeking through. There you go. See, you've got to have a good look at what they look like painted and in real life. Oh, look at those. Look what you can achieve with watercolour. That is just stunning. Absolutely stunning. Even the branch. Oh, look at that. See, that's interesting. The branch, where a new branch comes out, there's actually an overlay of a little bit of bark. Does that make sense? Ooh, now that's interesting. Where else can I do it? Here. So there's like a little protective piece of bark where those branches come out. I don't know if I can show it properly in this piece, but that's something to think about. Having that little, can you see how they've put a little stroke of colour there? To me, that's nearly a little node that the plant could shoot from. Gosh, now we're down a rabbit hole of cherry blossoms, aren't we? Oh, look at the tree. Gosh. Oh, look at that. Aren't they just beautiful? Look, we've gone down. Where are we? Oh, my goodness. Go back. Okay. So dark magenta out to light. Interesting. And I'm going to say that those little stamens, they have a bit of a, where's this? They have a curl about them. So when we paint, sketch or stitch it, we need that curl and that little seed, the little bit of pollen needs to just be there, like just dainty. What fun. So we need to think about whether that's black pen drawn in on top after we've stitched, or black thread. But that's a definite feature, isn't it? See how they've put a little bit of black or grey charcoal into the centre of that too? How pretty is that for detail? I might just take a screenshot of that and make sure it's no one's work. Original, it's on Etsy for sale. Moving along. Yeah. And you know what else I like about that? See the flicks of white? Look at the blue coming through from the background. Oh, gosh. Okay. What fun. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. We've got ourselves something to think about. I'm going to go and just have a look at more watercolor imagery, and then I'll be back with a play, and we're just going to get into it. I haven't been doing a test paint. I just want to get into it. So when I have happy accidents where a flower doesn't quite look the way I want it to look, I want to use my needle and thread to try and correct it. Because at the end of the day, the paint, the ink, the colouring is just, you know, the background. It's like an artist before us has printed fabric and we come along and thread paint. So there you go. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Very happy with that. Love that one. He's my favourite. I like him. Very good. All right, I'm happy with that. Toot my own horn now. All right, I need to go and start my day. I shall catch you all in the next installment of Cherry Blossoms. Welcome to February. Yay. Bye.